All right. Hello, everybody. How's it going today? Welcome to your monthly forecast. Hope your day is getting off to a good start. I know mine is now. And we had an interesting, hey, buddy, we had an interesting little power outage here a moment ago. Hopefully everything stays on for you. But usually that shows me that there's going to be a lot of positive energy coming through. For those of you that happen to be sort of tapped in energetically, I'm sure you've had some disturbances before with electronics. So I can't wait to see kind of how your reading factors out here. Let's put Apollo down for a moment. Let me introduce myself and let me just give you a nice warm welcome. Welcome to your monthly reading today. As I just said, we're going to be looking at the forecast for the next 6 to 8 weeks. I'm just going to pull my monitor up here so I can see you. And basically, the way that this works is you can use it for your sun, rising, and moon sign. And it works for the next, like I said, month to month and a half. The format we can see right here below. I like to begin with channeled messages. For me, channeled messages come through as dreams, as sometimes during my meditation, and also during the research. And this morning, as I was researching your totem, a lot of really cool things came through for strength, longevity, survivability. So I'll be talking about that in just a second. Your totem, just as a sneak peek, is the Redwood Tree, which is really cool. So we'll talk more about that and as we get into the channel messages. Then we'll go into the Celtic Cross and the expanded forecast. Expanded forecast lets us go a little bit deeper into health, wealth, love, and destiny. And then we'll take a look at the big idea, something to really help us stay organized and on track for this month. I always like to get a little interactive towards the middle. So after we do blessings and blocks, you'll have a chance to vote on something that is interesting to you, and I'll put a viewers poll around the center portion, and then at the very end there's a chance for you to ask me a question in the not the viewer's choice, but the final card. Okay, so let's get everything set up here. We're going to start today with something special. Again, sometimes I like to light the candles, so since there was a power outage today, I thought it would be good to kind of tune in together, light the candles, and set the intention. So we'll do that first, and then we'll get straight into channeled messages. As I'm actually, before I get started, just a couple of quick notes here. If you want to show support, the easiest way is to like, subscribe, and opt into notifications. You can follow me on social media if you would like to. I've put all my links there in the pinned comment. If you want to show live support, you can do that in the form of SuperChats, SuperStickers, or on replay, Super Thanks. And all the information about my upcoming schedules on my website. So let's go ahead and light the candles together, and then we'll get started. Whenever you do anything metaphysical in nature, specifically for working with cards, it's important to kind of tune in, and that's what we're going to do here together. It only takes 1 minute, but it's something that I like to let you see occasionally. So let's do this together. For the first candle, I want to connect us to Source. So each of us calls Source something different, whether you call it God, the universe, the powers that be. Let's close our eyes for a moment. Imagine that a bright star in the sky is shining down on you, and you can see this ray of light all around your body. And if you reach out and touch the light particles, you can actually feel them. So feel this protection and connection to Source around you. And let's just ask to stay in the light, to stay guided for the highest possible good, and only connect to energies of that highest light, of divine energy or above. And we'll light this candle and welcome in the light. Okay. For the next candle, let's call in some additional protection. I like to work with Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, please come through, provide us protection and direction, helping us see the path of least resistance, most positivity, and guide us and protect us as we do that. There we go. Since we're going to be looking at reading and tuning in, let's also work with Gabriel. Archangel Gabriel, please come through. Allow me to be a clear channel to get out of the way of anything that needs to come through. Allow everyone else to be clear on their path and also be able to receive and discern the messages that are coming through. Archangel Raphael, please come through and help us heal. Help us heal old wounds. Help us heal any blocks in our life. Help us see why we were bringing in these messages and release them so that we can experience something more positive. and especially and higher light beings out there, please work with the existing archangels to communicate anything that we need to hear and see. Again, everything coming through is for the highest good. Much love and light. Appreciation to all that are present, both ethereal and then also all of you. Thank you for taking time today. So it's always good to end and begin with some gratitude. So that's my gratitude to begin with. Also to all of those beings that are protecting us, thanks for being there even when we forget to say thank you or see you. We know you're there. We know you're guiding us. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I always like to begin with channeled messages. Today, as I was getting ready, the thing that kept coming through was just ancient trees. And I was thinking here on the West Coast, the closest equivalent would be the Redwood Forest. Let me show you. I went to the official National Forest page to see if I could get some images. And the closest, they have an official Flickr page. So I'll just show you for a second. I always have to be careful of rights images and things like that. So let me just bring this up for a second. I'll do a picture-in-picture so you can see it. And I'll give you this link so you can go straight to it if you want to kind of look at some of the redwoods. Just beautiful, very, very tall trees that, again, can actually get immense. We're going to talk a little bit about just this amazing totem for you today. All right. So let me switch slides here and I'll give you this link just in case you want to take a look at some beautiful redwoods. There you go. Hopefully that came through. Yes, it did. Okay. So let's talk now about why this is an important totem, how I can relate it to you. Why are we talking about trees? All right. So here we go. Your spirit totem today, again, is the Redwood Tree. And it really brings forward themes of longevity, purpose, and intent. And for all of us, these things can kind of get lost because there's so much going on in the world right now. We're worried about health and safety. We're worried about things in the world in general, like wars and politics and money and all of this stuff that sometimes can kind of bring us off of our bigger path in life. So this totem is asking you to kind of stand still for a moment and ground yourself, to have some patience and realign yourself with your soul's path or soul's purpose. Fun fact, from a seed that's no bigger than that of a tomato seed, this California redwood can grow up to a height of 367 feet or 112 meters. And that width, you could see how big and kind of gnarled up that trunk could get. It can basically go 22 feet across or about 7 meters. That's pretty large. Like the redwood, this is really reminding you that your dreams, goals, and ambitions could begin with a little tiny seed, a little ace of pentacles, but it has the potential to reach great heights. I chose this card from the Wildwood Tarot because it reminds us that our path is not always a straight path from A to Z. A lot of times you're going to have to wind around. We see that labyrinth or maze in front of it, and that's a reminder that we can't always see the end point, but we have to trust that the twists and turns that we're taking are not permanent. They're not blocks. We're going to find our way to the entry there, that doorway into something better. And we see the 4 seasons on this card too, which is a reminder that it can take some time, but the time builds strength and character and patience, and also gives us context with which we can view things. So everything starts small, but it can actually begin, that humble beginning can reach this beautiful sort of zenith and pinnacle of success that we saw with the redwoods or even with this world tree here. Okay? Really what this tree is bringing forth is an idea of a legacy. So I did some math, and I hope my math is right. I'm going to double check it here. But if you assume that a standard life is around 75 years, which I think it is if you take the average of male and female lives. So, and take a look here and let's see. So yeah, it's about 26, almost 27 human lifetimes that this tree is on this planet, which is kind of amazing, right? So it's a reminder that just like this tree, it's not, if you're watching this video, let me give you this sort of mind-blowing piece here. This is not your first lifetime. I used to be sort of on the fence of reincarnation, but the more I've worked with intuition, the more I've seen past lives, the more I just even see that there's no possible way that this is it. Even if this was it, it would actually punctuate this even more. make this life matter, right? That's the message with this. What's the lasting impact? This thing this tree can last the equivalent of 26 human lifetimes. That's further back in our ancestry than most of us can trace. So what are you doing right now that's going to make a positive impact, maybe for the week ahead, maybe for your children, grandchildren, or for the planet? Because this is also kind of something that would immediately stop our overuse of fossil fuels, our lack of recycling, our sort of like throwaway culture. We're coming back to this planet. The mess we make right now, we're going to have to live in. So just like you clean your kitchen and your bed and your house, I hope, just as you do all of that stuff for yourself, we should be doing it for our children, grandchildren, and our future incarnations. So do something now that's making a difference for yourself and for others. You can look at this from both sides of the equation. One is that if it feels good to you and it's fulfilling, it's exactly the experience your soul called in. So other people may not get why you're doing something, but if it's right for you, it's right. If you're bored, if you're looking for something better, you can also try to find something that's going to help the planet at large. So you don't have to worry about other people's approval of you. If you're needing focus, you can look at how you can help the larger world. Both of those things will help you find your focus if you're lacking it. So the sort of prompts that I put at the bottom here is, what is your legacy? Is what you're doing right now making a difference? And if not, why? Refocus your perspective and intentions this month so you can be more powerful in manifesting. So make a difference. And as we saw in the slide right before, everything starts small. We're in this sort of culture of instant gratification right now, and things don't always happen overnight. This tree can take 26 lifetimes to get as tall as it can possibly get. It can also live quite a while, ages of 2,000 years, which is crazy. So just give yourself time to grow. You're not necessarily lost if you feel like you don't know where you need to go next. You're finding where you're supposed to be. You're finding your path. So I think that for some of you, if you could just imagine that there's two cards that I could have pulled here. One is the Hermit, one is the Seven of Cups. I think the Seven of Cups describes what can get us into the foggy mental state that we're in sometimes, but the Hermit is the power to kind of shine through the fog. So I'm mentioning fog because redwoods grow largely in Northern California. I spent a short amount of time there, a year really, and I remember seeing the fog banks rolling into the city, and there are certain parts of the city that are almost always in the fog. These trees have learned to kind of adapt to that and use the fog. It's like 40% of their water intake over a course of a year, which is amazing. So if something that big can sort of thrive in foggy conditions, we can actually get out of our own mental fog. Part of that is, I think this is why they reach sort of so high, to kind of get above the fog bank, right, and reach the sun. So for all of you, there's this opportunity to reach above the foggy mental state that you could be in, which could be fear, doubt, anxiety, overthinking something. Also within that fog, there might be something that is a gem, something that's amazing, something that is like tantamount to the star in the Hermit's lantern here. So yes, you can feel isolated sometimes, but it does force you to kind of do some soul searching. So I don't think you're lost. I think when the mental fog burns away right now, you're going to be on this precipice of a breakthrough. And that's an exciting thing. You're set up for success, but there's some things that you have to do in order to really embrace this success. First of all, it's to stay grounded. I was surprised while I was doing research on the National Forest website, I believe. Aside from logging, which pretty much wiped out most of the forest, the other thing that can cause death for redwoods is wind. Wind can blow it over. Apparently, they don't put down a deep taproot. A taproot is basically this thing that looks like a carrot that goes deep in the ground and kind of gives a tree a solid grounding. Instead, much like a cactus, or cacti, which I've shown before in the totem, they send out a sort of wide net of roots. So they need a little bit better grounding, and if there's too much wind, they can kind of lose balance. There's one card in tarot that really comes through for this, and it would be the Two of Pentacles. We can even see the person kind of trying to go between two things. The main message with Two of Pentacles is don't spread yourself too thin, And also, I put some things here that I think will help you. Find a safety net or a contingency plan. Contingency plan is just a fancy way of saying, if this doesn't work, this is my plan B. So think about what else you might be able to do if something goes wrong, planning for the unexpected, but not fearing the unexpected. When we have a plan, then suddenly we don't feel afraid because we know, all right, I've got myself set up. I have that safety net, okay? And I think that is actually everything that there's one more, yes, one more. So I think this one's super important too. So all of this is basically saying you have this moment to shine in the sun and the stars. Are you ready to do it? Do you believe in yourself? If there's anything that's holding you back or anything that's making you dim your light, doubt your abilities, or procrastinate, this is the time to release it. Sometimes it can be scary to go from the star, or rather from the hermit to the star, because the hermit holds the star in the lantern. The star has basically just decided, I don't need to hide who I am anymore. It's safer and easier to hide sometimes because there's no fear of rejection. When you're in the spotlight, when you're taking accountability, when you're standing up there and doing what you need to do, it's a little bit scary because people can judge you. People can sort of, everybody's an armchair critic, right? Like, I could do this better than you, but in reality, you're doing your best, and who knows if they could actually do better. So I would say tune in and tune out some of this stuff and really focus again on what's your path. There's times where you can put that fog around you so you're not worrying so much about the voices or the criticism and just kind of stay focused on the path ahead. All right. So I'm excited to see where you're going to have that moment to shine. For some of you, maybe where the clarity is going to be when it comes to what you're going to do next. And yeah, let's get started. I'm going to grab some tea that I have in the fridge here just so my throat will stay awake and alive here. And then we'll get started on the Celtic Cross. All right, so let me get my drink and we'll be right back. All right, if you just joined, a quick reminder of where we're at and what we're doing. As I said just a moment ago, we are taking a look here at the Celtic Cross next. The Celtic Cross for me takes on any shape that it needs to. It doesn't necessarily have to be just love or just relationships or just work. It's a broad sort of canopy showing your life. The health, wealth, love, and destiny portion afterwards will drill a little bit deeper, all right? Today I was called to use a deck of cards. I like allowing you guys to vote, but we've had a lot of the same ones show up. So today I'm going to use the Sun and Moon Tarot. So let's take a look and see what's coming through. All right, let me just get things put to the side here and let's get started. All right, I hope everybody's doing well. How are you doing today? What's going on with all of you today? A quick reminder that this Celtic Cross, again, is going to cover the next month and a half or so because I do these in advance. So let's go ahead and see what the cards want to show. Zoom in a little bit on this. I can already see some really great movement coming in here with the Wheel of Fortune, 10 of Pentacles, so 10 of Cups. Lots of great stuff already. Okay, let's get started with the lovely center card here, the offering. We'll talk about what this means for you, or the catalyst rather. So the catalyst is a way for you to connect to the highest opportunity available to you this month. What I see here is almost it's like the ace, any of the ace cards in Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's waiting to receive. It's waiting to receive the love, the opportunity, the idea, the action. And so one thing that this would sort of help you understand is that you are the creative force in your life. Yes, you can wait for others. Yes, you can kind of ask for what you need, but you also are empowered and sometimes even better off moving forward and offering something or beginning something. There can also be sort of a level of discernment with this card. Is what you're receiving worthy? Is what you're receiving what you looked for? Realize that you are an active manifester, you are an active participant and creator in your life. So if you don't like what you're being offered, then offer up an alternative. Always be proactive, always be solutions oriented, always go in there with an idea, okay? But I see movement happening for you. I would say for you, if you take that first step, if you put some energy towards whatever it is that you're trying to do, you'll definitely see a return on that. All right, so let's take a look at the cards here. The center card is 10 of Cups in reverse. Many of you may feel a little bit of pressure from friends, from family, from coworkers to do a certain thing, act a certain way. This can be an expectation for you to show up. You get to also decide, does this work for me? Does this make sense for me? The 10 of Cups is a fantastic card for new relationships in your life, for deciding to put a little bit more energy in relationships as well. And I think the main thing for you to focus on, again, when we're looking at keeping your balance and keeping your purpose and your intent, same thing holds true on this. When the card is reversed, sometimes what can happen is we can succumb to familial pressure, peer pressure, work pressure, even just what we've built up on ourselves to make all these people happy, because you can be the source of your own anxiety or expectations or criticism. So the positive side of this is, if you want to put any sort of energy into attracting new people into your life, into fixing relationships or whatever, you definitely have some great people energy right at the center. But know yourself and don't try to solely kind of put yourself out there to, again, satisfy or kind of like meet their expectations. I think that that's the only thing that can get in the way. You've got a lot of productivity and progress that can be made. We have the Wheel of Fortune here crossing that center card. Some of you have just been sort of gifted this epiphany, which is, I'm done with this. And it can be a very positive sort of completion. The decision here could just be, all right, I've been working really, really hard. I'm ready to, some of you are ready to focus more on relationships, because we can see that 6 of Cups there up in the corner. So we'll talk more about that in a second. But whatever your new priority is, the 10 of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune can be simply the understanding that I'm worth this, and I'm not afraid to stand up for myself or to advocate for equal treatment, equal pay, equal opportunity, or for me to just sort of like do what I want to do. You've earned this moment in time. So what are you going to do with it? Right now, some of you might be deciding to get a new job. You might be deciding to invest in something. You might also be selling an investment. The Wheel of Fortune can just show this new phase in your life, just like the World Tree card that I was highlighting in the channeled messages where it showed the 4 seasons. The Wheel of Fortune keeps turning and turning and turning. It's kind of like that old Journey song, The Wheel in the Sky. The wheel just keeps moving and moving and moving. And the question is, are you being moved along with it? Is it dragging you behind it? Or are you the one that's actually creating the motion? So get on the train right now, because if you allow yourself to be a part of that movement, exciting things await you. And yes, for some of you, this could be marriage. There could be like, because even though we didn't get the 10 of Pentacles right here in the center, when you combine the monetary piece here with it, that can be love. This can be love and money, love and marriage. I think the important thing, if you're going to be looking at that sort of combination, is also thinking, is there complications between the relationships and the sort of duties or money or responsibility that are also being sort of navigated here? So try to find your way in that mix, and I think that'll be key. And that's a nice segue into the next card, which is the Chariot. The Chariot card is reversed. So the universe is kind of asking you, who's the boss? Who's in charge? Are you ready to take the reins and move into a new direction or dimension? Because this particular Chariot card allows you to do that. I like that we see a couple of Taurus-like cows or bulls at the front here, because what your biggest challenge might be right now is to deal with strong personalities in your life. So this is why sometimes doing business with family or friends can be really, really complicated, because it's not just about what needs to be done. There's these sort of complexities based on the fact that you guys have this other relationship, right? So I think one of the important things right now is how to navigate roles, expectations, and again, who's the boss, who's taking the lead here, okay? So with this Chariot card in the deep past, it is an encouragement for you to sort of like stand up for yourself, to clarify, to organize, to kind of get things in order and to basically take the reins. As we look at your recent past, we have the Prince of Swords here, which is basically a Knight card. And this tells me that things are going to kick off in motion pretty quickly here. And it's really about keeping up with the momentum that you've built. So are you prepared to sort of like take action and keep that going? I was talking earlier to a family member, and we were sometimes like I get up really early to get ready for the 9 o'clock readings here because it's early on the Pacific coast. So it's between 5 and 6 a.m. so that I can walk the dog, get dressed, eat breakfast, plan the slides, get everything set up, all of that jazz. So sometimes I wake up and I think, wouldn't it be nice to sleep in today? So we all go through that. But one little tip is I just try to get my foot out of bed. If I can just get my feet on the floor, drink some water, and start walking or walk the dog, I'm awake. It's the first step that is the hardest. Once you've done that, you've got momentum. So you just have to build the first couple of steps. I've also been talking a lot about how much I love hiking, and I've been doing that a lot lately here in LA. One of the things that inspires me is just the ability to kind of get up to the mountain and see something like this, right? I took this video yesterday. So it's so nice to just sort of like see the world from a different perspective and kind of get to the other end of the 10 of Wands, right? To just get to the top. So you don't get that just by waiting. You have to push yourself up the mountain, get yourself out of bed. And so that's my encouragement for you today, is to take the first step, and whatever your equivalent of the payoff is. For me, it was seeing those beautiful daisies, seeing beautiful Los Angeles from a high vista. So it's not just about traffic and things like that. We've got beautiful mountains and hills and wildlife here. So yeah, get a different perspective. I think that's going to help. Use your voice in a way that is unusual or unexpected. That's the message I'm also getting from this, because the cool thing with a Knight card is, unlike a page, they have a little bit more power, a little bit more authority, and they definitely have the ability to create action or an impact. So speak up when the time is right. You might be waiting for timing this month, but when that window opens, oh boy, does it open, and you're going to be able to do something really cool with it. So this isn't the time to sit back and be a wallflower or to swallow your tongue. It's a time to really speak up. All right, let's take a look at your headspace right now and see what could be either inspiring you a bit or holding you back a little bit. So we have the Seven of Swords. It is less about you and it's more about others. Let's talk about the complexity of the Seven of Swords. So the Seven of Swords is one of the trickiest cards in tarot, because a lot of times what we're shown we don't want to see. There could be someone in your life that you really, you were just rooting for them and hoping that everything was going to be okay. And then they do something that surprises you. They may have promised to do something for you and then fell short of that, or just full stop, just didn't do it. They may have held information back and maybe not told you the full truth or the truth at all. And sometimes people may just be trying to get away with something and you catch them. So there's this moment of, no, is this real? But if someone shows their true colors, it's real. What I think would be effective here is to try to understand why it happened. So let them know, I see you. this hurt me or disappointed me, but I want to understand why it happened. Is it because something else is going on in your life, or did you just think you could get away with it? Because if it was the latter, that doesn't work with me. So set a boundary and an expectation if you see anyone in Seven of Swords energy, which is what we just talked about. This can also be denial. This can be looking at yourself and knowing something, but it's like judgment reversed. I disbelieve what I know to be true. So if you know it's time to do something for your health or your general well-being, you've got to believe it though. You've got to own it. Once you do that, it's going to happen. And if you don't though, then it's not going to stick. So whether it's overcoming an addiction, overcoming a mental block, overcoming, again, just denial, the sooner you can get over that, the sooner you can step into your power. Because so far, this is the one card here that I'm seeing. It's really the only negative card this month. And it's one that can be dealt with, but it's necessary on this one. It's like cold water when you splash it on your face, if you're washing your face, or if you jump into a pool and it's like colder than expected, or you go outside on a winter day and it kind of takes your breath away. I think we can relate to one of those sort of scenarios where you're like, okay, this is real, this is happening. The sooner you sort of get into that mindset, the sooner you can take action and make progress happen quickly, okay? So far, everything is manageable, and I want to set you up for this success because we see basically love and support and then also resources smack dab in the center. So why not get yourself in a good mental space to take advantage of those? All right, so we do have 10 of Pentacles, but you have to get through all of that first. So this is something that's really interesting to me because this can be marriage, this can be friendship, this can also be family, and this can be marriage. So what we're looking at is, what do friends and family think about your marital status, your relationships, or your lack of relationships? And I think all of us can relate to this. I think there's not a person on the planet that hasn't had someone judge where they're at. So whether you're in a successful relationship and there's jealousy, whether you just started dating someone and there's doubt, whether you're single and there's this sort of like, you better find someone soon, there's always someone sitting there deciding something about your life. Guess what? It's your life. Are you happy? I'm going back to the like prompt questions that I had earlier. Are you happy? Is this somehow connecting to your higher purpose? If so, there's always going to be a critic. I was going to a chiropractor yesterday who made me feel amazing. And I was talking about a review on the Yelp page because I saw something. I was like, all of your reviews are good. There's one that's off. I said, you should just ignore it though. But he fixed it because it was someone that really wasn't even a client. But my comment to him was, you know what? If you have like 10 reviews and one is off, usually it's the one that's off that I just throw out. I'll throw out the highest and the lowest, and I look at everything in between. Because there's always someone who had a bad day, and there's always someone who overstates things. So it's the stuff in the middle and maybe a few the high and a few the low that matter. But if you're doing a good job and you're happy and you have one friend or one family member and they constantly get into your head, enough. Let yourself be free of that, because they're kind of like a flea. You just need to flick them off. They're trying to get a free ride and trying to kind of like suck some energy, and let that flea go to someone else, right? It's not you're not going to be their meal of energy. On the bright side, and there is a very bright side with this, there could be an unexpected growth opportunity with money or work. It could come from your circle of friends. So you definitely want to make time to talk to people around you, let them know what you're looking for, let them know what's going on, so that you have a chance to sort of tap into that. So definitely some great opportunities this month that are opening up. There's a lot of pressure for some of you with work right now. So feel free to ask for some help. What we see here is love on the other side there. 10 of Pentacles is about good friendships, good family members that can come through. It can be your chosen family or your actual family. So all of these people that have this sort of interest in what's going on, it's because you have something that they're interested in. So don't be afraid to lean on some friends and some family members for assistance if you need it as well. It cuts both ways on that. With this though, find your balance when it comes to how much you're working. Even though we didn't get the 2 of Pentacles here, I do have 8 of Wands in the environment, and that shows me that you're busy. So I think that there's the tendency or the risk of being pulled or stretched too thin. So definitely your ability to sort of say, hey, I can overcome this, I can get past this, is going to be so important. And it's so funny. I just got a text from my chiropractor that said he got that review removed. So it's funny how in real time, some of the things that we're talking about can come through. You don't need to actually have something like that removed in real life. We can just extract the thought. So I would say for you, if there is something that's persistent and it's just one person or a couple of people, but like the batting average, 80% or 90% of everyone around you is on the same page, just throw it out. Remember, like you're just trying to find the big picture and the big idea of what's going on in your life. So someone that's cheering too hard or booing too much, they're just noise. So I think if you can get past the noise, you can get back to progress. And the 10 cards, even though we didn't get 10 of Wands, 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, are graduation cards. So the 10 of Cups, you might have outgrown a relationship. The 10 of Pentacles, you might be ready to kind of burst through a new level of opportunity. And there could be someone trying to hold you back on either one of these scenarios. So sometimes when, like if you think back to when you were a child and maybe you were moving out or going to school, or maybe again, getting into your first relationship, there comes a point where your parents can't really control your life, but it drives them crazy. So they either make peace with that or they find ways to kind of pull you back in. Same thing with work. There could be a boss that loves you and doesn't want to see you transfer or get another title because they're going to lose you. These are possessive energies. They're very devil-like energies, actually. Devil in tarot, which is sort of like control. So that's why thematically the Chariot card came through. You are the one that's holding the keys to the control here. You're the one that gets to kind of turn the wheel as well, the wheel of fortune, and the wheel to your car or to your sort of vehicle of choice. So use that and steer in the right direction. As we look at what's coming through here for you, how you appear to others, what the big opportunity is for you, we have the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is upside down, which shows me that some of you may not be aware of how much progress you've made. The fog that I mentioned earlier can be sort of a delaying cognitive factor that could come here, either the mental fog or the sort of like we were talking about environmental. You may need to just sort of look around and see what's going on. Three of Wands means that if you were to turn to your right, look a little bit down the hill, meet the boat at the sort of pier, which you would see on this card normally, that you would actually see that what you were trying to manifest is here. I listened to, of all things, a TikTok the other day when it was a story about Oprah, how she got her role in The Color Purple. She's very good at manifesting, and she read the book and she thought, I want to make this movie. I want to be in this movie. I want to star somehow in this movie whenever it's made. She got called for an interview. I shouldn't say an interview, but basically, what is it when an actor gets called in? Anyway, she had a chance to audition. That's it, an audition. And it wasn't called The Color Purple, but she recognized the characters. And then she saw the synchronicities. Like there's a character called Harpo, which is her name backwards. And anyway, she auditioned. She didn't hear back. And she had this moment where she had to sort of release it when she was working out. And she thought it was about her weight or whatever, and it wasn't. And the minute she said to herself, I would be fine with seeing someone else get the role. And I'm trying to find a place to just be happy with the chance that I had to audition. I'm okay. This is fine. I release it, basically. And then she got a call from Steven Spielberg, and he gave her news that she could be into the movie and not to change her physical appearance or anything, because she was exactly the way she needed to be. Sometimes we just have to make peace with the fact that we're there and that it's going to happen if it's going to happen. And when we trust in the universe and the sort of guiding hand of the universe, then we don't have to doubt anymore. We open our hand and actually the pentacle's there. So this is, as we kind of go through that story, if you were just to open your hand, the coin would be there. So when we're looking for the handout, when we're looking for the approval, the applause, the pat on the back, all of that stuff, if just trust in yourself that you've got it. And if the timing wasn't right, there'll be another door that opens up for you, okay? I often say rejection's protection. So she probably learned that lesson too there. Where if I'm not supposed to be it, then there's probably someone that can do it better. And I'll be grateful for that. And I'll have another role. I'll have another opportunity, right? So Look around. It's happening or it's happened. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you're not going to be sort of angry and wondering and kind of like, ugh. You can then think, oh my gosh, this is exciting. And what am I going to do now about this fast acting opportunity? Because you're going to be having to use the Knight of Swords cards to kind of keep in time and in touch with what's going on here with the Six of Wands. I'm sorry, the Three of Wands. Oh, it is the Six of Wands. I was looking at it like the Three of Wands. All right, but this is the same thing. Put your glasses on, Nicholas, is what this says. So with the Six of Wands is success. So the thing with this one too is we look at her at the top of the hill, there's nobody around. So one piece of this message also comes through as well, which is the success always happens within. So you got a little blessing here and a little side rant from me with the Six of Wands and the Three of Wands smashed together. So I see with my half-blind eyes that it's already happening. And the Six of Wands tells me that it actually will happen here for you. So all you need to do is trust. Trust in the timing, trust in your skills, and don't try to please others. And I know that sounds weird. I think, yes, you want to do a good job. Do a good job because it is a good job. Don't do a good job because you think that this is the only way that people will expect something to be for you. Surprise them with a different take on it, because your take is the most important take possible. Your sort of like flavor, your voice, your vision. And that's what can get you this nice combination of the Three and the Six of Wands, okay? And we do see victory at the very top here. So you will be victorious. One thing that I keep saying as we look in the environment is it's swift. You've got to keep up with the action here, right? We also see her kind of dodging bullets. There are arrows in this particular deck, but one thing that you might be trying to do is to figure out what's worth my time. How can I make sure that I don't miss a deadline, that I don't miss a payment, that I don't miss something that I'm supposed to be doing, that I can keep my promises, that I'm not saying, yeah, I'll do that, and then I miss it. Or like this, even what I did, kind of looking at something and misreading a cue, really pay attention, really focus, and slow down, okay? Eight of Wands is a fantastic card for business. If you own a business or are starting a business, this basically shows me sustainability, profitability, and basically maybe you're going to have to kind of decide, am I getting too much? Should I be charging more? Should I be pickier about who I'm working with? Because you might get lost in that shuffle. There's also a lot of people that come through in both of these cards, the Six of Wands and the Eight of Wands. The Six of Wands, they have more strings attached. They have expectations. This can be, in the case of business, your board of directors. It can be a stakeholder. It can be it can be just an average everyday investor. It can also be the public at large, which expects things in a certain way. There's a string attached. There's expectations attached to it. With the Eight of Wands, these are people, these are peers. These are people around you. You've got a lot of people around you, I've got to say this month. This is not a lonely period for you. This is work and family and money related. This is usually friends and close or intimate relations. And then we see a lot of public facing energy here. So it wasn't accidental that I was talking about the star when I was looking at the channeled messages a little bit earlier, because a lot of you are going to have to figure out, kind of like a crystal, what are the different sides of me? What are the different facets that I'm going to show as I kind of work through all of these moments? So we're all like a crystal, where sometimes our family gets to see more sides of ourselves than others do, but friends and other people in your life, they may only see one of these facets. So you're going to have to figure out how to really kind of like navigate all of those different people and friend groups and kind of figure out how to show your different sides, because you're going to have a lot of opportunities this month to show up, okay? We have the Princess of Wands, or the Page of Wands here, in hopes, fears, and opportunities. So I love that she has her magical wand here. It's also shaped like a star. She's reaching for the stars. She's not letting herself kind of get pulled into the fire. She's using that to kind of fuel her. So sometimes passion can burn through us too much. Like we can feel so much desire, so much of a wish to make something happen that if we don't get it, it deflates us. She's allowing this to sort of like lift her up, almost like she's the smoke going towards the heavens. So find a way to kind of keep reaching, keep moving, and never let yourself get that feeling of jealousy, frustration, or doubt. Why did she get it and not me? Why is it happening so slowly? Is it not happening at all? What did I do wrong? All of those things are counterproductive. What you want to do is think, this person inspires me. Can I learn something from them to speed this up? I really feel ready and worthy. Is there anything that I need to work on in my own life to release the need for this to happen right now? Where else can I find fulfillment? This isn't everything. It's a nice to have. It's not a need to have. So kind of working on yourself to basically mute and transmute some of those energies of fear or passion or frustration. Keeping a very open mind is important. So when we look at this in the context of the spread, it's in hopes, fears, and opportunities. So for some of you, you could be afraid that this is the only opportunity, that it's like this or nothing, all or nothing. And it's not all or nothing. You have a lot of different opportunities availing themselves to you. With the Six of Cups here in the outcome, love is definitely something many of you might be on the horizon of finding. There could be a really great relationship on the sort of future horizon for you. You may, if you already have a family, be deciding to spend more time with either your loved one, your partner, your children, someone in your life that really matters. There's also a chance for like a reunion or a reconnection to someone from the past, a best friend, an old teacher, someone who really cares about you, and again, knows all the different sides to your soul's facet or facets. So if you are, we're going to look much more at relationships in a second, but if you are single and looking, this card says you are very picky, and I'm happy that you're picky. You should be. So don't worry if it's taking a little bit longer for your ideal partner to come through. You really have a firm idea of who you want and how you want that person to kind of be. So be patient, because there's a lot of other things you can and should be focusing on, from work and family and money to the relationship as well. So let everything kind of take a piece of your energetic pie, and when it's time, it's time. In the meantime, focus on fueling your passions and working on things that really bring that sense of happiness and fulfillment into your life. All right, let's talk about what's next. We're going to look at the extended forecast: health, wealth, love, and destiny. So for health, wealth, love, and destiny, each one of these is multifaceted. The first card that we're looking at is health. And what do we see here? We see parent and child. The card was reversed, but let's just look at it a little bit closer here. To me, this is also the Six of Cups energy. It could be a child, it could be a sibling, it could be a cousin. On some levels, I also see her looking at her inner child. It almost looks like she's taking a mask and saying, or a piece of her like inner child, and saying, I see you. I'm sorry I haven't paid attention to you. So healing from the past, one's inner child, healing relationships in the present. If you are a parent, you could be healing energy with your child. If you're a child and you're estranged from your parent, it works both ways. But that's what I'm seeing, is a little bit of healing. What this is going to do is help you with Five of Pentacles blocks in your life, because when we get sort of a stunted energy or a fractured energy from youth, it ends up showing up as an adult in our money, in our negotiations, in our self-confidence, because we're looking for external validation. The Six of Wands that I originally thought was the Three of Wands. The 6 and 3, because I'm reading it as a combined two, just because I got both energies here, is basically saying success is within and progress is present. It's happening now. So when you actually see yourself through a different set of eyes, through your adult eyes, amazing things can happen. I can't remember who said this, but it's a good quote. But what I'd love for you to do is to take a look. Maybe it's a yearbook, maybe it's your photo album, maybe it's a picture that you have hanging on the wall. Look at a younger version of yourself and then look at yourself now. Realize right now you're amazing. But you can look back and think, oh my God, I was so beautiful. I was so young. I was so amazing. Imagine yourself 20, 30, 40 years from now looking back at you right now saying, You are amazing. You are gorgeous. You are worth this moment in time. So this is a future you. I do these kinds of readings sometimes. This is a future you saying, do you know how amazing you are now and what opportunities you have? Stop looking at the past. Stop worrying about the future. Start living today. And that's a really healthy perspective, actually. Right now, no matter how, like if you go forward 20 years, it would be accurate to say you're young and beautiful. It's all subjective, right? But you are amazing and you have a lot of capacity. Do something amazing with today. It's good to think about the future. It's useful to learn from the past. But if we solely exist in either of these sort of extremes, then we lose our balance. Then we're that Two of Pentacles trying to figure out, who am I? Okay. Let's look at the cards and see some other perspectives coming through for you. All right. So when we're looking at your health, so, some of you might just be going to extremes. The Ten of Cups can be celebration. Okay. So don't overdo it. There might be something worth celebrating. New job, new house. So good for you if that's the case. Just remember that easy does it. Taking more accountability and control of your life. Chariot in reverse is leaning on someone else and blaming someone else. Seven of Swords ultimately is saying, I'm going to release that. I'm going to take accountability and I'm going to really show up in this moment and say, yes, I can do this. Yes, I'm ready. Okay. Let's take a look here. The other messages that I see here is, there's a lot that's going on with friends and family. How do you fit into the mix? Are you taking care of yourself during all of this? I think that I don't want you to get sort of like lost in the shuffle, because group card, Ten of Cups, group card, Ten of Pentacles, group card, Eight of Wands, another public facing card, Six of Wands. Where are you? Who are you? Don't let these other people get in your headspace. So this is more like psychological sort of mental health that we're talking about, but I think that that's going to be really important for you as well. And then spend some time having some fun. Six of Cups is fun too. It's basically about making time to play, to have some good celebratory energy as well. We see all the little lily pads there. It's saying, hey, I've pushed through the tough times to get to this moment. I'm reaching for the light. So keep on reaching. It's worth it. Standard disclaimers apply, although we're really talking more about just general healthy habits here. But if you are going through a tough time, work with a professional in your life. I'm just trying to help you see energetic opportunities. The good news here is we didn't get the Ten of Swords. We didn't get the Tower. I just see the biggest challenge for you in your general health and getting to the next level is denial, is accountability, is telling yourself a little white lie. So we've all done it. We can all say, just one more day, and then the exercise routine starts. This is my last cigarette, my last drink, my last this, my last that. Make it truly your last if you want to see the health happen, the health benefits happen, and get into a better you, okay? And ask for help if you need it. That's why I threw up that disclaimer there. Talk to a therapist, to a counselor, to a support group, to a friend, and say, I want to do this, but I'm afraid. What do I do? And then figure out how to do it. You're the one that kind of will discover the right path for you. But ultimately, seeing the beauty in you right now. And I liked what someone wrote in the comments here. I think one of the things that we need to focus on is to release our need to be young forever. When we look at a lot of, just speaking from like this country, if we look at First Nation, Indigenous, Native cultures, whatever you want to call them, but people that were here before we were here, there was a lot of respect for people that have been on the planet. We don't even have good words. Elders, that's the best word maybe. So those that were experienced, the matriarchs and the patriarchs, I like those better. So like the Empress and Emperor energy, they looked at them like the magician and the high priestess because they understood the mysteries. If they could live to be 70, 80, 90, 100, then they've got some experience, and it was the wrinkles and the gray hair and all of that was like, you've earned all of that. So yeah, just look at yourself in this moment as beautiful, as strong, and stop comparing yourself to others and to previous versions of yourself in this life or in others, okay? Being fully present is the message there. Probably one of my favorite health messages I think that I've ever pulled. And I like working with decks that don't have words. It allows you to see things from a different perspective. I think this is called Soul Cards. Literally just a very plain sort of title, but it's a great deck. All right, let's move on to the next component here. So we just talked about health. We're going to move on to your wealth card. And for some of you, there is this timid energy that came through with the deer here. So are you, if any of you have lived near a forest, or even if you've been able to see one on the side of the highway, you know that deer are kind of like infamous for being easily scared. On one of the other decks that I own, I believe it's the Wildwood Tarot, the deer is usually associated with the Four of Pentacles because it's kind of afraid. And so when we're looking at your financial future here, don't be fear-based. Look at it for the long term, the long perspective. So for those of you that are, standard disclaimers apply here. I'm not a financial advisor either, but there are some things to think about here. You don't want to look at short-term gains. So if you're making a decision for where to live, where to work, where to shift your investments, I really want you to think about 5, 10, 15 years, not just right here and right now. And this can help you make a better decision when it comes to, should I sell this house? Should I take this job? Is this where I see myself going? Also, if I was a future version of myself, would I approve of this decision to take this opportunity? If not, is there something else that I should be doing? Would there be regrets? What does the future me whisper into my ear? So listen to the long-term sort of goal and plan. So if there's a hiccup or a setback or something that's going on in this moment in time, realize that that's just kind of part of life. We always have these sort of, it's like the stock market or financial market. It goes up and it goes down constantly. There's going to be highs and there's going to be lows. It's not going to be a perfect plateau. It would be boring. It's not going to always go up, and the crash won't last forever. So wherever you're at, realize there's a bunch of 10 of wands, and you go back through the whole series of wands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you're somewhere in that sort of energy of moving up and down. Same thing with pentacles. But wands is the work that you're putting into it. And pentacles, sometimes we pay too much attention to the bottom line. Let's look specifically at the cards. I think the most effective way that I can look at this is for those of you that are working, seeking work, or retired or not working. All right, so for those of you that are working right now and looking at just general resource management, gosh, you have so much pressure, but you also have so much opportunity to tap into resources around you. All you have to do is ask. Some of you may doubt yourself, or you may not trust some of the people around you. So if it's your own company, it's about hiring or engaging with people that you trust a little bit more. If it's out of your control, then one of the things that you want to deal with is the lack of accountability with somebody. But otherwise, I see you being very successful, very busy, coming up with some great ideas and making some key connections. It's a great month for business, I have to say, if you're already working, especially these cards. Don't try to get away with something. It will catch up with you. This Seven of Swords, the Moon card you can sometimes get away with. You can't get away with the Seven of Swords. You're usually going to get caught, or it's going to come back, and it's worse when someone finds out. So be accountable. If you're already accountable, great. You're set up for success. If someone isn't, then that needs to be dealt with. For those of you that are job seeking, literally we look at the Wheel of Fortune, and it's touching family and coworkers. So the job is not necessarily going to come from a cold application online. Nobody really sends resumes anymore. They just submit them. It's going to come from word of mouth, or an internal person, or a random sort of organic meeting. I would rather you go to like a job fair or something like that. In COVID, I know they don't really exist anymore, but networking, even if you don't drink, go to a cocktails thing and, have some iced tea or something and mingle. It's important for you to kind of make some key connections. I think that's going to be essential if you're job seeking, okay? And I do see ultimately success and you being busy. So I do see movement happening for you, but there's a lot going on here in the head space. I'm not good enough, this won't happen. The limiting thoughts have to kind of vacate, need to go away. All right, for those of you that might be retired or not working and just doing something different and happy with not working, then I think the important thing for you is spending some time with friends, family, and younger people, younger energies. I mean, even the Princess card, the Page card, is really young. So I think that youthful energies and group activities around you could be really inspiring. This might be a mentorship opportunity for some of you as well. But definitely all of that is looking good for you. And I feel pretty good about your overall financial health here. It seems like it's more of the same. There's a lot of internal fear this month, but I don't feel like that fear needs to sort of like take center stage. Okay, good. One last thing for all facets is to be the one that's signing the checks, be in control of your finances. Definitely get an understanding for where you stand with your money. And again, get real with that. If you do that, you're going to be in a really good place. All right, let's move on to love and relationships. We have the turtle spirit here. It says, slow and steady wins the race. That's something that I often say whenever I look at the Nine of Pentacles card. The turtle's reversed on this. So for some of you, there could be patience that's required, because if I think of a turtle in the wrong direction, it's going to take a little bit longer than usual for it to get onto the right path, into the right direction. So a course correction for you could happen really fast, but you might have to be patient when you're waiting for your friend, your husband or wife, your partner, your whoever it is in your life, your peer that you're waiting for, a coworker. So try to extend that patience. Let's look specifically at 3 different facets. Very similar to employment, we're going to be looking at those of you in a relationship, looking for a relationship, or single and happy. If you're in a relationship, we can also kind of focus on just it doesn't have to be about marriage. It can also be someone that you care a lot about. So it could be a family member, if you're a caretaker, for instance. All right, for those of you in a relationship right now, very easy to kind of look at. Money and resources are taking center stage. And there could be a tug of war between what you want to do and what your partner wants to do. We see someone here that's very emotionally driven, and we see someone here that's very sort of looking at the tactical elements, the practical pieces, the bottom line. So heart and money and differing opinions on that. And then we see also this tug of war of who's driving the ship here. And then we see fairly evenly matched energies here with the Prince of Swords and the Princess of Wands. So I'll take it. I either want to see a king and a queen or a prince and a princess. The thing with this is that one person here is a lot better at talking and listening, and another person is closed off and feels like it's my way or the highway. So I do feel that when it comes to a differing opinion, ostensibly about money, then you're going to have to maybe show this person. Telling them isn't enough. It's almost like showing them an example or bringing to light an example of how this is working with someone else's key. The good news for you is we see that things will work out when it comes to relationships. There's a happy sort of resolution here, okay? Don't let other people get in your business. Don't worry about optics. The Six of Wands in reverse can be optics or a public opinion. Instead, focus on the two of you. That's what it always comes down to. And that ultimately you have very similar interests. You want to protect one another. You're just focusing on different things. If you're looking for love this month, well, one last thing. Honesty is a big issue. So you can work through any sort of challenge, but if dishonesty is part of this equation, yeah, that has to be dealt with. So if there was a little, what maybe one of you thought was a white lie, maybe you bought something, or there was something that you hid from the partner and it comes out, it wasn't as little as you thought, and you're going to have to sort of understand it from their perspective and vice versa. If they're trying to brush it off, you have to say, no, this isn't something that's small. Let's talk through it. We'll be okay, but I'm not going to just ignore that this happened. Otherwise, we're going to have bigger issues down the road. Okay? So there you go. That's the last little and the most important piece with that. If you're looking for love this month, you don't have a lot of free time. I'm going to be really honest with you. I'll always call it as I see it. We see 8 of Wands in your environment, which means a lot's going on. We see you focused on success. We see you in your headspace quite a bit. And there's a lot of concern about money, family, and pressure. You may be feeling pressure from family to get married, to have children, etc., etc. Remember, it's your life to live. Do what you want to do. Don't say yes if you don't mean it. So if someone proposes and you don't feel it, but which, by the way, could be happening here, 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, 6 of Cups, that's marriage. That's marriage and children if you want it. But with the 7 of Swords here on the top, only do it if it feels right. Definitely take a look and get a prenuptial if you need to. Making sure that you want to be in something is so essential. And this isn't to dissuade you from getting married. This is just saying that, like, if you enter into any contract of any form or any partnership, just really make sure that you feel it. And if there's any doubt, talk about it, air it, and then sort of like let it go. Because it feels like ultimately, if you can't talk to the one that you're going to be with about your hopes and fears, who can you talk to? So this could just be a little pressure test, and it looks like it'll be okay. And if it isn't, you just dodged a bullet, right? So it's a good thing no matter what. But honesty is the big block all across the board this month. Honesty and denial. And if you can get past that, everything is very good, pretty much from what I can see here. If you're single and happy this month, good for you. For the single and happy folks, I see a lot of growth with business and money. I see a chance to travel and spend time with friends. I think you should just have some fun and get busy with life in general. This can be volunteer work. This can be, deciding to just occupy your time and space on a project that matters. So it's a great month across the board, okay? That standard sort of warning for everybody applies, which is just be realistic. Don't overcommit. That's the number one thing that I think that could hit all relationships and all resource issues is saying you can do it and then not doing it. So if you're going to say it, you better do it. All right. So we're going to look now at your destiny card, and we have the Emperor card. It's called the God card in this particular deck. So we see someone getting dressed up and ready for the event, but the card is in reverse here. So for some of you, there is this feeling in this question, am I enough? Yes, but you have to believe that you're enough. Who are you trying to be enough for? And who are you trying to please? That's the question that I have here. A lot of times this is a parent, usually a father if we're looking at Emperor card. This could also be your boss. It could be an older brother or sister. It could also be like, we'll take it at face value. You might be trying to meet up to some unrealistic expectation, and you're worried that God or the universe is actually judging you. Here's the sort of fun part of that. We are, by extension of this sort of energy of the divine, we are the divine. Not to sort of say that like you are God, but you are an aspect of God. God is trying to understand everything in this universe. So God is the flowers, God is the ants, God is you. God is not either male or female, it's both and beyond. It's bigger than we think, it's an it. And so we're a branch off of that. So don't worry so much about the judgment because you're part of it. So this is for those of you that now we're getting into the child thing. It took all the way to the destiny to understand this. Someone in your life could have told you that if you don't do this, you won't be good enough. Like you might go to hell, people won't like you, et cetera, et cetera. So the secret here is everything on this planet and beyond, and in the universe and in the multiverse is basically beautiful because it is created by the divine. We just have to understand the function, the place, where it sits in the puzzle. So don't worry about it. You're already part of the puzzle. All you need to figure out is what you're doing, how you're making the picture even more beautiful. So don't worry about being judged. Don't worry about the judgment of others, because you'll see one day through your own eyes as you do your life review that you're judging yourself at the end anyway. God has your back. It's the energy that's lifting us up, showing us the possibilities, and it's never going to let you go completely. All right. So if there was anyone in your life that compared you to something and said, you're not good enough, or if you love this way or live this way or look this way, you're going to be rejected. You're going to go to hell. You're not enough. It's wrong. That's the antithesis of that sort of universal or divine energy, because it is unconditional. All right, let's take a look at what's next. We're going to go into the big idea. Big idea is something that will help us focus on what's important. All right, what's the big idea this month that will set you up for success? There we go with the Deer card that I just talked about, the Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles, I like the way that they've created it in this particular deck, because we actually even see this sort of energy that I got to keep my glasses on when I look at it, but when you look really close, you can see him working the energy there around him. There are sand castles that are creating the foundations around this person as well. And there's this general understanding that this is the beginning. This isn't the limit. This isn't the end. So you are foundationally setting yourself up for the next step, But Four of Pentacles is limited. So the limit can come from fear of someone saying or doing something and you don't want to hear it. It can also be because you think if I let this go, then I won't receive more than this. You're limiting yourself by that thought alone. So stop the limiting thoughts. Focus on reaching, like we saw in this, and reach a little bit higher. Trust that you can get to that next level, okay? If you are consistently undervaluing yourself and selling yourself short, either literally or figuratively, let's say you have a business and you undercharge for your goods or your services. This card is saying, I don't have enough for the foundations if I keep doing that. I have to increase what I'm asking for so that I can continue to give this level of service. If someone in your life expects you to sort of not break even, to always be on the losing end, then you're going to say no more. Okay? So this is getting to that level of sustainability, which would be actually the Six of Pentacles. That would be more than enough, not all that you want, but more than enough to have everything that you need. Okay? So let's jumpstart you and get you past that. You don't even have to go through the energy of the Five of Pentacles because we talked about that with this. Okay? All right. So let's look at what's next. So we just talked about the big idea. Let's move on now to your blessings and your blocks. Exactly how they sound. These are things that are going to either lift you up and get you to the next level or potentially be something that you could be stumbling on. So let's give the cards a shuffle and see blessing and block. Your blessing card is Death and Rebirth, which I believe I actually featured in the channel messages, which is cool. And let's take a look at your block. Five of Cups perspective. So let's talk about these. All right, so for your blessing card, we have one of the best cards that you could get. I read Cancer last. Cancer had the death card everywhere. They had the energy of death and rebirth. There was like the judgment card, the death card, and then there were like a couple of oracle cards that looked exactly the same. Maybe you got the Six of Swords. I can't remember, but everywhere I looked, it was more and more transformation. So your blessing this month is that you're ready for something new. You may have no choice except to step into that. Notice how rebirth is the bold part of this. Death is the doorway. Rebirth is basically the reward for going through that doorway. So I'm just going to look back at the slide that I had that featured this. I had it right here. Legacy and impact, if we're to kind of go back in time and look at what the bigger message was. So let me just bring everything into focus here. We'll look at this card one more time because the message, this is the card. We got the two together here. So with this, what is your legacy? What are you doing right now to make a difference? If you're not doing something that makes a difference, why? What are you going to focus on? And remember that this isn't your first time around the globe. As I said, you've been through this lifetime a few times, and now you have a chance to do something more interesting, a little bit different, and it's just really a question of if you're ready to step into that. It's easy sometimes to just keep doing the status quo. This card is challenging you to try it from a different perspective or a different angle, okay? And also to remember that no matter how frustrating something is, you can come back. Yesterday I had like a crash here on some of the stuff that I used to go between all the cameras, and I had to reset up all the icons and all the stuff, but I was like, just sit down. And I was done in like half an hour. I got it all back. And now I have backups of that. I thought that it backed itself up automatically, but it didn't. One thing that I learned when I was back in film school and we were working with digital editing, like Media 100 and Avid and all that stuff back in the day before we had Final Cut, there would be crashes because we weren't using hard drives. We were using like zip and jazz drives and things like that. So I made a bunch of backups, but I remember my professor saying one time, he said, you know what? A crash or an end is a chance for you to look at it from a different perspective. He said a lot of times when I've had to reshoot a scene or edit something again, I get a better edit or a better shot because I know what I'm doing, and it flows a little bit easier. He said, so I'm sorry you lost your project. Just get back at it and show me something even better this time. So I've always tried to remember that I can come at it a second time, and it's almost like the universe is telling you, no, that wasn't it. This is it. So whatever it is that you need to let go of, just like a computer crash, just like when you when you're making something and you think, oh, it's all ready, and then something kind of like falls apart and you got to rebuild it, you're going to have a stronger foundation the next time. All right. And it's going to be more fun to step into this. You're untethered by whatever in the past was holding you still. So basically the roots are coming out. You get a chance to replant yourself somewhere else. All right. The block here, again, was that sort of feeling of, I can't, when we look just even at the resource things, like maybe this is it. Your other block here with the Five of Cups is, I didn't want it to go this way. It's very emotional, the Five of Cups. I wanted this, not this. So any of you that have had to babysit for like a niece or nephew, or you have younger children, they want a certain, like you got them ice cream, but they wanted chocolate, not vanilla. Or you got them Rocky Road. They're like, there's too much stuff in that. I want chocolate. It's sort of like, but you have ice cream. As a kid, sometimes we have the temper tantrums where it's like, I want this, not that. As an adult, we get to see, all right, I still have the ice cream. What else can I do with this? Is there something, or an ingredient, like if you're making something that you're going to cook, maybe you have a substitute and you think, well, let's try that. It could end up being fantastic. So don't crinkle your nose. Try this different ingredient. And remember, with the Five of Cups, you see it right there. She has 2 cups right there. There's the Two of Cups is always hidden here. There's love or opportunity or support. And we are always focusing on what we don't have sometimes. And then that leads to what we see at the very top, disappointment. So focus instead on doing something different. You can't go back and repeat history. We'd like to do that, right? But you can't always get what you want, and you can't always get it in the way or the time or the fashion that you want, but you might be surprised by something better. And that's really what that card is saying. Okay? Let's go ahead now and move on to the viewers and the reader's choice. So the way that this works is I'm going to take a look at the cards, come up with 3 things for you to vote on, and then I'm going to choose another thing that I think is worth digging a little deeper on. All right, so let me get this set up here. For anybody that's watching on a computer or a mobile device, you should be able to vote. Anybody else, just relax, enjoy, and trust that everybody's picking the right things. All right, so let's take a look at the cards here. So viewers' choice. I'm going to choose to look at the opportunity for growth. So that'll just be the reader's one. Let's look at some other things. I'm looking at the tug of war. That's literally kind of how Spirit's communicating it to me between 10 of Cups and 10 of Pentacles. So it's basically how to please, and maybe how to not please, but let's kind of look at this. How to deal with peer pressure is really what this is. Okay. The next thing that I see here is control issues. So taking the wheel, taking control, taking the first step. That's it. How to take the first step. And this is going to lead you to success. I'll put success there as well so you know. Okay, and then let's see one last one here. Bravery, courage, because we have the sort of deer here in the not in the environment, but in the wealth card. So how to be more, just finding bravery, we're going to put to take. Well, it's really close to take the first step, isn't it? Overcoming fear. That's it. All right, so you have a choice of those 3. Feel free to vote while I am taking a look at Death and Rebirth. What's the big transformative change that wants to come through for all of you? Let's take a look and let's see. Good question. All right, so looking at the energies of Death and Rebirth, let's focus on where you have the biggest opportunity to make a change happen. Hanged Man, patience. Very interesting here. All right, so the Hanged Man in reverse can be trying to rush through something before it's finished. It can also be trying to hang on to something that's already gone. So you can see the very cool illustration here. Instead of just a traditional kind of like rope or whatever, we have the Ankh that's kind of holding him in place. It still is a rope, but it kind of looks like the Ankh, which is a symbol for Death and Rebirth, which is really good, basically eternal life. So Hanged Man goes back to Odin. He had to pause. He had to wait to receive the knowledge, to receive the gift from the Tree of Knowledge. So for some of us, we are impatient with the manner, the shape, the form of whatever it is that we're trying to manifest. So detachment is actually the message here to speed up the rebirth. So I told you that little story about Oprah earlier and she wanted to get a role. So detaching from needing it so much, detaching from wanting it to happen right now, understanding that it will happen. So there's not a question of will it happen. Controlling the when is what you want to let go of. Feeling like I can make it happen now, I can make it happen tomorrow. I'm going to trust that I'm going to be led to the timing that's right so that this is perfect. It's the quality that I'm focusing on instead of this. The other thing here is letting go of a past version of yourself or a past goal or dream or expectation. You don't have to be limited or held back in time or space by that one thing. You're much more than just that. So this is really a chance for you to go a little bit deeper and a little bit beyond that. All right, let's take a look now and see what's coming through for the user poll here. So we've got how to take the first step. It looks like it's the universal winner on that one as well. I'll give it a second to finalize, but I'm going to start to shuffle the cards here and see what's coming through. By a whopping 50%, we have how to take the first step, how to find success. Aha! We have the Devil card here. A very interesting card to come through for this. Let me just get everything set up here. All right, so I actually talked a great deal about this in yesterday's reading with Cancer. So the Devil card can sometimes be very deceptively alluring for you. So specifically, let me look at how I structured this. How to take the first step. Okay, so don't limit yourself. We see the cobweb on this particular card. The way that the Devil is keeping you in place in this particular card are limiting thoughts. If I do this, I might fail. If I do this, I might not have enough money. I don't know if I trust or believe in myself. All of those things are devil-like energies because you're limiting potential. It'll never get better than this. I never have luck with this, etc., etc. I won't even say that because I don't want to put that in my own energy. So what you're going to do instead is liberate yourself to say, I'm tired of this block and I release it. I'm ready to experience better things in love. I'm ready for more opportunities of a positive nature to come through. I'm better to have my expectations surpassed. Now is the time. I'm stronger than I think, and I want to find someone in my life that can see that strength as much as I'm starting to see that strength. That's how you release it. If there's someone in your life that is trying to hold you back because you're ready to move forward, run like the highway away from that person because it's time. This person's just holding you back for fear. So I feel like you're already there. You're already going to be okay. But there's a limiting thought or a limiting action or a limiting contract that could be in place. So this is why I also wanted you to be really, really discerning when it came to contractual agreements. It's better to walk away from something than to agree to something that is way too restrictive. You should have room to breathe. And if they're asking for too much, too long, like I remember, this is probably like 10 years ago, I was looking at some apartments and one of these places wanted me to sign like a 2-year lease. And I said, no, that's too long. Too much changes in the market right now. I don't want to agree to that much. I don't want to lock things in for that long. So if you love where you're at and you want to lock in your rent, that's different. But there can be contracts that are way too long. You can also do a contractual release, which we'll do in our meditation today, which releases vows of poverty, vows of chastity, agreements that you're going to have to give up way too much. So you can kind of let go of these old things from old lifetimes, or from this lifetime, maybe you're going to fight to get the freedom and the liberation that you deserve and that you need. Okay? So we just moved through the major parts of the reading. We're going to now get into an exciting portion where you get a chance to meditate on something and ask me a question. So we're going to meditate. I'll do a little bit of a contract release during the meditation because this card helped with that. And then we're going to give you a chance to silently ask a question, and then I'll pull a card, okay? Before we get into that, I try not to do this too often, but if you have not subscribed to my channel and you're a longtime viewer, please consider doing that. I looked at the numbers last month for this year, and it's about 55% of you that watch that don't subscribe. I don't know why, it's free. So if you'd like to subscribe, please do that. Hitting the thumbs up once per video helps, and you can also opt into the bell if you want to get future notifications of when I go live. I know the bell doesn't always work, the notifications don't always push through, so you can follow me on social media as well. I use story reminders on Facebook, Instagram. I also send out tweets the day of the reading, so a great way to follow me is right here. And I also pinned that earlier. Remember that I don't give private readings and I never direct message anyone, and these are my only accounts. A lot of fake accounts out there, so you want to be smart. If you'd like to give back in real time, you can still do that. If you happen to be watching it on replay, there's also a feature called Thanks, and it's right by the share button. So if you want to do that, you can. All the information for past, present, and future readings is on my website. All right, let's get into the meditation. I'll give you one last chance to vote on something as we're getting set up here. You can choose between the two different instruments that I play during the meditation. One is a crystal pyramid, kind of sounds like wind chimes. The other one is a singing bowl. It's a glass singing bowl. Okay, so either of these are fine. You have a chance to vote while we're getting set up. All right, so as I'm gazing at the cards here in front of us today, let's see, we'll look at it together and see what's most interesting. Again, I want to kind of help you through moving past limiting thoughts. So we're going to do a contract release. I like the tree, and because we talked about the redwoods today, I think we'd be remiss not to use the energy of the trees. So let's go ahead and imagine ourselves in a redwood forest or in just a really rich, deep, old forest. You can imagine it to be a little bit different if you can't picture the redwood in your head. Close your eyes and tune into your body for a moment. As you take this first breath, see that beautiful stream of light coming from the top of the trees, also coming through the crown chakra and lighting up your body. On the exhale, imagine that you're letting go of any sort of restrictive or constricting thoughts that might be present in your mind, body, or spirit. Also, anybody else's energy that might be in your light body. Just see each kind of like exhale being a puff of smoke and then eventually being completely clear. And now you're just breathing in light and breathing out light, completely clearing your energy, completely lighting you up. See yourself now being able to sit down on the ground and imagine that your light body could merge or melt into the tree that's behind you. So imagine that you have this gigantic redwood or an ancient tree that's reaching up to the heavens above you. And as you lean back, you feel almost as if the tree could bring some of its branches around you and hug you, support you. And it gives you permission to connect with its energy. So as you accept, you reach all the way up to the highest branches, the highest leaves. You feel the warmth and the light of the sun. You lean into the strength of the trunk, feeling you can actually see all the rings, all the years, all the lifetimes, all the 2,000 or so years that this tree has been on the planet. You also get this wisdom and experience and the sense that it will be okay. I've been through this before. I'm going through it again. There's going to be something better tomorrow. Pushing way deeper than even the roots of this tree go, because we talked about that being one of the shortcomings, you connect with the core of the planet. You feel heat, warmth, light, radiance, movement, and you see that everything's moving, even the center of this earth. Getting back into your body, still leaning against the tree, I want you now to make some decisions. What do you really want to keep? What do you want to release in your life? For those of you that have had trouble with money, you could say something like this. Thank you for the financial lessons. Thank you for the experiences. I no longer need those difficult experiences in my life. I release that lack. I embrace and I welcome in opportunity, abundance in the highest forms. For those of you that may have actually had a flashback and you saw that you took a vow of poverty, you release that too. You say, I'm now ready to see abundance as a gift from the divine. I don't need to be without. Being with is actually part of the divine as well. Same thing holds true for love. This is your chance to be loved, to be embraced, to be supported in the highest possible ways. Love is a gift from the divine. So you can open up your heart to be healed and to be loved and to be supported with that divinity. And then releasing anything else in your life that you don't want anymore. Thank you, universe, for the lessons. Thank you for the opportunity. And I release it. And now you hold space for something better. In your hand, you have a seed, a soul seed. And you can plant this in your heart as we do the meditation and see it start to grow. See ribbons of light and energy start to flow from your heart space as you start to accept and explore what this seed, what this dream might bring. Relax as I start to play the singing bowl, and we'll be right back in just a minute to take a look at your final question. The final word that comes to me as we're focusing on what you can do to really allow this to happen is just simply saying to the universe, I am ready. 3 words, very powerful. I'm ready to receive love and abundance in the highest forms, but basically putting in whatever it is you're ready for. And always put something this or better. This or better. Because why limit yourself by what's possible? You may be surprised at what's coming through. You may be surprised at what the universe wants to give you. So if it has a better version of it or something that's even far surpassing your expectations, by all means, welcome that in. Focusing now on your final card, I want you to think about the one question that you have that I haven't yet answered. Just hold that in your heart, hold that in your head. Say it out loud if you want to. And let's take a look and see what kind of guidance is coming through. All right, we have the beautiful 9 of Wands, which to me is a clear indication that you're very close to achieving something that you want. The 9 of Wands can sometimes get a little bit frustrated or tired. We don't see it as much with this one. This is a very powerful 9 of Wands, but typically in the 9 of Wands, we would see someone wearing a bandage, and there's this sort of message that I'm tired. How much longer? And maybe that was one of the questions that you asked me, like, how much longer is it going to take, Nicholas? I would say you're very close. Don't give up. For those of you that are looking for a yes or a no, this is a yes. It can also indicate that what you're looking at may not hit every single mark, but it hits enough of those sort of check marks that you can make it work. You may be able to build upon something else. It's a good card for just a yes, no. For everything else, it's saying finish what you've started, take care of yourself, don't burn yourself out. Specifically, mental stress and even things that might manifest physically like migraines or headaches, or maybe having a difficult time with ADHD and focusing. I usually get that more with the 7 of Cups, but with the 9 of Wands, there's a lot of energy that goes into the head space. Once you clear your head, once you get through the fog, then you get to finish whatever you've started, and it will be a lot easier. So just take a little break. I think a lot of you are overdue for your 6 of Cups moment. Go out, take a walk, take a day off, go and treat yourself to a meal or to some coffee or something. Do a little something just for you. You earned it. It's your day. That will help you. And when you're doing this, don't feel bad. Say, I earned this. I'm going to work harder later. This is inspiration. And reward yourself for working hard. Sometimes we just keep pushing ourselves. Why? Why is it not happening faster? So you have to have fun during the journey. Okay? There's really nothing negative with the 9 of Wands in the upright position. You just may need a little push from someone, or you may need to push someone a little bit to get it done. That energetic push is there, and we actually see strength as one of the sort of messages at the top of the card. So push. Find the inner push and make it happen. Get to the finish line. Okay? That, my friends, is everything. We went through all the different portions of today's reading. Again, dropping a like, subscribe, or opting into notifications. Easiest way to show support for this channel. Next to sharing it, so please do share it with somebody if you enjoyed it. Follow me on social media, as I said. Still time to give back in Super Chat if you would like to do that. And now let's move on to gratitude. So I'm going to start first by saying thank you to everybody that's been longtime viewer with me. We just hit a milestone. This is the 1001st, I guess, basically video. So I've been doing this for a while, and I appreciate all of you that have been with me for 7+ years. I also would like to thank the new folks that joined. So whether you're a longtime Patreon or a member supporter here, or you're the first time here, I just want to say welcome. So give me a moment here to welcome anybody that joined within the last day or so as a member, and then anyone who chooses to give back today here for Super Stickers and Super Chat. All right, so first things first, let's say hello to, actually, let me go back here and we'll say hello to the newest members. So Melissa Harding, thank you so much for rejoining after 9 months. Ms. Jocelyn C., thank you for rejoining after 4 months. Stacia Purrier, I think it is, thank you for rejoining after 9 months. Paula Deacon Art, brand new member, welcome. Kathy Cephas, I think it is Cephas, thank you for rejoining. And I think everybody else I welcomed yesterday, so good to have all of you here. All right, let's go ahead and say thanks to anybody that gave in Super Stickers or Super Chat. And I appreciate all of that because it does help me do more videos. And by the way, I think I'm going to do an impromptu either on the weekend or right after. So do opt into notifications on the heels of the 1000th video. I think it's a nice way to do it. All right, so for today, pretty small list, so I should be able to get through this very fast. Thank you, Jonelle, I think it is Jonelle Zayas, for kicking things off today. I appreciate it. Robin Redman, Anita Vora, Lisa St. Clair, and Grace S. I think there was one other one. Maybe that was just Grace that came through. So thank you so much, everybody, for making this an amazing reading today. I hope you can join me on the weekend. I'll be back on Sunday, possibly for an impromptu on Saturday. I'll announce it before I do that so that you can plan for it. And then again next week, let's see, we just finished Leo, so we'll be looking at Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio on Monday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm always live on those days, plus again Sunday. Okay? Until then, take care of yourselves. Lots of love and light. And thank you, Maria, for your help with moderation today. All right? I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.